I've recently been seeing maps that show how different areas of the country voted in the 2016 presidential election. The visual is pretty striking. It seems like vast swaths of the United States voted for Donald Trump, while Hillary supporters were relegated to some relatively small pockets here and there around the country. The gist is clear. Most of the country supported Donald Trump. However, the real numbers don't bear that out. Hillary won the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. The explanation is obvious, of course. Those small pockets of Clinton supporters, though smaller in area, are far more densely populated. They're cities. Which brings me to the Electoral College. The Electoral College penalizes population density. The more people your state has, the less their vote counts proportionally. I'm not a fan of the Electoral College. If it were up to me, I'd give the right to vote to all American citizens, including people who don't actually live in states, like American citizens living in Puerto Rico or Guam or the Virgin Islands, for instance. I'm not going to lay out my arguments against the Electoral College here, though. That's a conversation for another time. Given that the Electoral College does not seem to be going away anytime soon, though, we have to figure out how to beat the system. Liberals have the numbers. They can win. The problem is where they live. If liberals want to beat the Electoral College, they have to move to red states. That is the most expedient solution. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's an easy solution. As someone who already lives in a red state, it's an easy thing for me to say since I don't have to do anything. It's easy to tell people to do their part when you've already done yours, so to speak. Moving isn't easy. The process itself is expensive and stressful, and you can't just quit your job and hope that there's one waiting for you wherever you're going to move. It's rough moving someplace where you have no connections, no friends, no family, no career waiting for you. It's a ridiculous request, to be honest. However, I think it's worthwhile if you can accomplish it. There's a lot to be gained. First, if a few million people move strategically to red states, then the Electoral College flips, just like that. Second, by moving to a new area, you have the opportunity to begin influencing the people around you. Even if people don't suddenly flip and become liberals instead of conservatives or whatever, at the very least, just by you being there and them seeing people different from themselves, they will start to... The process of humanization begins. I mean, I'm of the opinion that part of the reason why our country seems to be so polarized is because we close ourselves off from one another. We separate into our camps. Thirdly, and finally, there's the possibility that whenever you move to this place where conservatism reigns, you'll experience the cultural and economic situation that leads people to be conservative in the first place. Humanization, after all, works both ways. I doubt that any sort of mass migration out of the cities is really going to happen. To me, that actually seems less likely than abolishing the Electoral College. After all, there's a reason why cities attract people. They have jobs, they're convenient, and so on. Plus, the prospect of being a pioneer into hostile territory is pretty daunting. And just generally, as I said before, uprooting yourself is a complicated process. Still, I am interested in finding ways to beat the Electoral College while we're waiting to, get rid of it. Anyway, that's just something I've been thinking about lately. Thanks for watching. See you next week.